What's up guys, welcome to my channel The Chem Club, where I generally discuss about the topics related to chemistry and that can be within or outside the syllabuses for classes 9 to 12. So for today I'm going to discuss about the catalog of elements. Okay, so basically I'm going to discuss about the periodic table, the general um, aspects of the periodic table and also the discoveries behind it. Okay, but for knowing all these things we have to first get an idea of what a periodic table is and also why we need a periodic table in chemistry. Okay. So take an example of say a catalog. Okay, a catalog of wall paints. So we choose colors from catalog of wall paints for getting a perfect color contrast on the walls of our home. So in similar way, we also choose elements from the reference chart, which is called periodic table. From where we can choose the elements and combine them together to form a compound. And we choose the element that what kind of reaction it can perform to form a particular compound. Okay, but how did it occur to the scientists back in the 19th century that there should be a reference chart for the elements from where we can understand their properties? And also how it was designed. Okay, so let's see all those things, all the discoveries behind it. Starting from obtaining gold from philosopher's stone, the discovery of various elements went on and it's still on for today. It then occurred to them that there should be some sort of similarity in their nature and which was seen at a regular interval, just as that of a musical note. Okay, so basically they observed that the nature of the elements repeated its properties at a particular interval. With discovery of more elements, scientists thought that there should be some factor controlling this recurrence of the properties but couldn't get how. Now Mendeleev arranged these elements according to the atomic mass, means he thought that the factor controlling the periodicity is atomic mass. But there was no solid reason for it. Okay. Now, one thing you'll be left in wonder to know that he predicted the discovery of other elements and so he left space for them. For example, Eka boron, which is known as the respective things which are given in the script. In the meantime, with the discovery of radioactivity and thus the elements radium and polonium, which showed radioactivity, it was confusing for them that how to arrange them, having different properties than the known elements. But the legends have not come into the scene yet. The makers of the periodic table were at a loss as how to arrange this element in the table, in the already formed Mendeleev periodic table, which showed no existence of their naturally formed compounds back then. Anyways, they were placed in zero group in the Mendeleev periodic table. Now, one thing I have to say about Mendeleev periodic table is that the table contained the groups which are named or designated in Roman numbers, which indicated the valency of those particular elements. Okay. Several discoveries of atomic structures went on side by side until the table turned out upside down with the Moseley's extra frequency experiment, which revealed that atomic number and not atomic mass is responsible for determining the nature and the uniqueness of an element, and as we know, atomic number is equal to the number of protons and thus the number of electrons, and electron is responsible for the chemical bonding. That means the chemical nature of an element, means determining the chemical nature of the element. Now, as an example, take a reference of students in the class. Okay. Now, every student in a class is distinguished by their roll number. So, what is the significance of the atomic number then? This atomic number serves as the roll numbers for these elements in the attendance register of these elements. That means periodic table. Okay. Now, after this Moseley's discovery of atomic number being the main factor for the distinction of the elements, we all now follow this periodic table, following the fact that physical and the chemical properties of element are periodic functions of their atomic numbers. Now the question is, How is this repetition of the properties? I have uttered this repetition term earlier also. But what is this repetition for? Why? How it is even possible? For example, if we take sodium and potassium, which belong to the same group, they all show some type of reaction, the same type of reaction with water. Now, this periodicity is determined by a factor which is called valency, and it's the name of the group which determines the valency of an element. So we can understand that groups are simply not columns in the periodic table. Then what is the periods in the periodic table? Periods are the rows which contains the element, but if you observe carefully the elements in the same row, you'll find out the number of the shells or orbitals according to the quantum mechanical model of elements in a period is same. So the period number designates the number of the shell of an atom of that element which can possibly have in its neutral state. I'm not going to deal with the Mendeleev periodic table for this video. I'm going directly to the modern periodic table. Okay. Now in this modern periodic table, see on the screen, the respective groups are characterized so according to their chemical behavior. For example, see group 1. The elements in the group 1 can react with water very violently and giving generally alkali, and that's why they are named as alkaline elements. Okay. Though hydrogen is included in group 1, it is a non-metal, but chemically they can show properties of group 1, that means metallic, if they are kept in an environment where it can lose electron and form H+, or otherwise forming H- if it is kept in that environment, means if it is reacted with a metal which is stronger than H+. That's why it is kept at group 1. Group 2 elements react with water mildly, and these are metals. Group 17 can react with group 1 and 2 elements by taking only one electron, and these are all vigorous reactions. Okay, and their bonds are very strong. They are basically ionic compound. What kind of compound they form? They are ionic compounds. Okay. Now, if we keep our eyes on their physical properties, metals are solid, shiny, ductile, malleable, and also conduct electricity as they lose electrons easily. Whereas it is simply opposite for non-metals. Okay. Now, group 13 to 16 acts in a similar way as that of the group 17 elements, with the valency as shown in the screen, and that's why they are also non-metals. But from group 13 to 16 region, some are in the midst of the metals and non-metals, showing intermediate properties like being semiconductors. Okay, they are placed in a staircase fashion and they are metalloids. Group 3 to 12 are somewhat metallic, but their chemical natures are different than that of 1 and 2 elements, and their valencies are determined in a different way, for which we have to understand the quantum mechanical model, which I am going to release next. But for now, we are going to learn about the parts of this periodic table. Okay. But suddenly, 14 elements from period 6 group 3 and 14 others from period 7 group 3 were discovered, which has different type of property of their own than their group in the main periodic table. They are called lanthanides and actinide series. As you can see, lanthanide stands for lanthanum and the latter one is actinium, both included in the main periodic table. Another group is there which are not seen involved in any chemical reaction. Thus, they generally make no compounds, as they can neither give nor take electrons in their valence chain. So, their valency is 0. And these are the group 18 elements and are called noble gases. So, the property ranges from high reactive to non-reactive elements across the period. Generally, you will see that the elements with atomic mass above 208 are all radioactive elements, and their nucleus are very unstable. And you have to keep it in mind that elements which show radioactivity, their chemical properties are somewhat diminished. For example, francium, which belongs to group 1, it doesn't show the properties of group 1 actually, as because it is radioactive and it loses its elementary property. Okay. But one question remains in our mind, that how can all these properties be determined by simply looking at the table? Was it just a coincidence or sheer observation while making the table? I would go for the second one. If you observe the table properly, you will understand that both the physical and the chemical property is determined by the factors called periodic properties, like the atomic radius, the size, and the nuclear charges. These are the primary periodic properties from where we can elucidate other properties also. Now, this atomic radius increases with the number of shells. Obviously, with the number of increment in the number of shells, automatically the atomic size will increase. Okay, and also decreases with the rise of the nuclear charge, because with its increase, electrons would be more attracted to the nucleus. So the atomic radius normally decreases across the period and increases down the group, as we have seen from this observation. Keeping aside only one exception here, that atomic size slightly increases for group 18, as because the electrons are well saturated and show electrostatic repulsion, and thus the size somewhat increases. Based on this, the periodic property are decided, and each and every group have nearly the same properties like ionization potential, electron affinity, electronegativity. These are all the terms we'll get to know later on, and this which decides its chemical reactivity and the physical properties like boiling points, melting points, and density. But one thing to keep in mind is that the more an element tend to lose electron, they are metallic, and the one to accept are non-metallic. And the affinity for an electron in a chemically bound state is its electronegativity, which determines the bond nature. But all these topics are beyond the scope of this video, and I promise you all to continue it there. You also need to know about the quantum mechanical model to deal with this. So that's all for today, and hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and please like the video and also share it with your friends. And if you have any query, any doubt about this chapter, then you can freely ask me in the comment section. You can also approach me in the socials which are given in the description. And also there is a declaration for you that I'm going to make a second part of this particular chapter very soon. And also please subscribe the channel and also tap on the bell icon so that you can get the update of what I'm posting. And some links are there which are given in the description so that you gain more knowledge about the discovery of the periodic table, the history of the periodic table. And as usual, thanks for watching.